Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Automotive Recyclers Experience. And again, Georgia, how are you?
I just
Hello.
that
Is that
now.
all we're going to get?
No, hi, how are you?
Good, good, good. Excellent. It's a Friday afternoon here in Melbourne and in Sydney. It's a nice sunny day, so it's good. A little bit fresh. It's getting a bit cooler now, but it's good to be here again. And we're going to talk a little bit about, we've had a heap of interest around the session that I did on AI and how
URG,
AI is here now at URG. Yeah.
yeah, at the recent conference. We've just returned from URG a couple of weeks ago, had Easter,
Yep.
Anzac Day, a whole bunch of things. So we're just kind of regrouping now, I guess, on the back of
hmm
URG. And yeah, certainly at this conference, I mean, the room was very full. And a lot of people have come up and asked questions from you, Kirk, myself, about the session.
Yeah.
So
And we've had a lot of people that weren't able to be at the session sort of come and or send emails and wanted to know a little bit more about one, what we're doing, but more so about what our thoughts are on how AI can help them as well. Unfortunately, not everyone's able to be at the sessions. There's a number of sessions on at the same time, and the room's only so big. So um, we had a good panel there. We had Amber from Pete's Auto, Amber Kendrick. We had Junior from Bionic, and also Pat Huser from Pam's,
yeah,
which was good. So look, we wanted to just jump on this, record something so that we can share a little bit more around um, where AI is today in the market. We hear a lot about ChatGPT and so forth. It's the one that everyone knows, and I know a lot of people are using it on a daily basis now to help them write emails and stuff like that. But we use AI in a number of different forms through our normal day-to-day interaction. We don't really realize it. And I think it's important we sort of start thinking about how AI fits into an automotive recycling business. So that's why we're here.
great. Well, why don't we, on that note, why don't we kick off and you kind of give us an overview of I guess, what the key points were that you talked about in the session, and I might ask a few questions along the way, um, that kind of trigger or make us think that may be further
Mm.
worth talking about a
Yep.
little bit deeper.
All right. So I think one of the key things here is the way we think about AI and what it is. Artificial intelligence is, it's in photography, it's in language, it's in text. So we see a lot of the chatbots. You've got things on your website that you get onto an
Podium,
American Airlines or
podium, there's
Podium,
a lot
yeah,
of
all
recycled.
that type of stuff, right? Um, And a lot of those AIs or those tools enable people to communicate better with you. Okay. Um, and we hear a lot of it when we call airlines or government bodies. You might hear a fairly simple multi-prompt AI asking a number of questions. And a multi-prompt AI is one where it's more like a preset templated deal where frequently asked questions. You ask it this question, it knows that it's going to give you that answer every time. They're fairly
Where are you
robotic.
located? We're located at blah 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 blah. There, it gives the
Yeah,
address. What are your opening
yeah,
hours? The standard questions. I mean, I know we do that with Podium and things like that with our clients that use it. We can upload
yeah.
the ask questions, and often that's, and in Facebook Meta, we can
hmm
in there and it'll automatically give them back out.
Yeah. So we use that every day, right? A lot of people use that. I just uploaded some new software now, for my Mac computer this morning. It went for about an hour, but anyway, that's another story. Um, but in it came a whole heap of AI tools, to help you with this and that and that. Now, am I going to use them necessarily? Maybe not. But AI is everywhere, and it has been for some time, by the way.
Yeah.
And the way we think about AI, from an automotive recycler's perspective, I think again we're the laggards, we're the industry that's probably slower to adopt AI than a lot of other industries. Obviously, in banking and in finance and other such industries, it's used a lot more than we use it. But I think we need to start thinking more about it because there are things that we can do and automate in our business to become more efficient, and actually do a better job
What are
with
those
some of this AI.
what are those things? Can you touch on some of those things that you think? I mean, obviously, we'll talk a little bit more about Ari, our AI sales agent, but what are those things, other things, more low-hanging fruit that people could be looking at for their businesses?
Yeah. So what's there today? And there's some
Yeah.
stuff that they've already been using, Georgia, right? So if you think about, BitBuddy, for example, now it may not be the AI that we know of today. That is the ChatGPT type of AI, but there's AI algorithms in the back end of BidBuddy, for example, that help you buy cars better. I think a lot of the stuff that Jim McKinney's doing with his Easy Route, for example, or routing systems more generally, you know, that's AI determining Google Maps. That's AI determining how long it's going to take you to get to here using the information that's available to it, right? And it's gathering a whole heap of information to do that.
Yeah.
Um, so
What are
there's there are
what
things
are
that you do
some
every day.
what are some that you think that maybe people haven't thought of that they could be putting in their facility? Is
Yeah.
there put your
And
mind
look,
there?
what I will say is some of this AI is unfortunately does require a level of knowledge of how to apply it. So sometimes I'll say some things here, but it's like, how am I going to do that is going to be the question. So there are certain processes, if you think about different things that a human does and touches on a daily basis in your business. A lot of that can be done by AI. Now, do I mean replace everyone with AI?
No,
No,
no.
that's 100% not what I'm saying. AI should be seen at
Oh,
this point in time as a tool that you can use to help you do your job better,
yep.
not a tool that can necessarily replace everyone in their business. And again, you mentioned Ari and what we're doing there. I'll talk to that in a minute, but that is really, it's not about saying, how do I replace my 100 salespeople? No, it's about how can I help my 100 salespeople do better?
Yep.
How can I help them increase their conversion rate? How can I make sure I don't miss calls, et cetera, et cetera? So it's certainly not about replacing. I think the first protocol is to say, how do I use it to get a better outcome? Okay. And that can happen from sales. It can happen through, warranty. A lot of people, for the bigger organizations that, sell hundreds of engines a day, for example, if they have, as a symptom of the volume of sales, they're going to have an increased number of warranty claims. It's just normal, right? So rather than having one a week, maybe they have one a day. Okay, so what do I do? Or 10 a day, whatever the case is.
Yeah.
What do I do with those warranties? Is there some information that I can take right up front using an AI agent that I don't necessarily have to have a salesperson taking? Because we pay salespeople a lot of money. We want to use their time as effectively as possible because we are dropping a lot of calls. We're dropping a lot of calls because maybe we're focused on other stuff that's non-productive, such as taking invoice numbers and, claim issues down about a warranty. So in the warranty department, you could have, for example, an AI that takes all that information in a very structured way, usually does it better because it goes down that structured approach that can then feed through to a warranty assistant rather than having it to go through your phone sales room.
Yeah.
That's one example.
Okay. So look, let's talk then about Ari, because obviously that was a lot of people were keen to understand more about her. And I know we'll do a specific chat maybe with Mike or someone next week, Mike Kunkel next week, perhaps about
Yep.
what he thinks of Ari, because he's obviously a traditional sales
Mm.
person, traditional sales coach. So, but he's a very big advocate of Ari. So I think that's great to get the old versus new, kind of old way and the new way, and talking about that. But in the meantime, I mean, for those who haven't heard or those who are wanting to know a little bit more, can you touch on who Ari is, what Ari is, how Ari is helping businesses?
Yeah. So again, it's a voice AI that we've developed. It's something I heard at an IBIS collision repair conference about a year ago, and a gentleman from 3M that was on a panel with me about innovation in the collision repair industry, um, played an AI voice assistant that collision repairers are using. And when I heard it, I thought, wow, that's pretty amazing. Um, and then the first thing that I do, as you know, Georgia, is I think, hold on, Can we use that in our industry? Do we have a need for it? It just struck me straight away. I thought, wow, we need that. I reckon we're missing a lot of calls. Now, that was a hunch I had. Why? Because I remember going into my family's business on a Saturday to do some inventory, for example, or do whatever I had to do on a Saturday or a Sunday or whatever the case was. And that phone didn't stop ringing, but no one was there to pick it up. So, and it was frustrating because I'm thinking, oh, maybe they need an engine, or maybe they need this, but the phone would just ring, call after call after call, and it just go to a message bank. And guess what? They don't leave messages. They either hang up or they leave a long-winded message that's not structured, and we don't really know what they want at the end of it. And sometimes they even forget to give us their number. So um, I thought there was a need. So we started asking around and started asking a number of facilities, how many calls are you missing? And again, a lot of people didn't know how many calls they were missing. They'd never thought about it. So they started looking at that, and surprisingly, or maybe not so surprisingly, we found that, a good 15 to 35, 40% of calls are going unanswered.
And
And
that's not just
that's
out
not
of
a
hours on
mistake.
Saturday, is it? That was, even in sort of peak times, there's overflow, people are on hold, they're either hanging up, they don't want to wait
Yeah,
around for 3, 4 minutes, whatever it may
yeah,
be. So,
absolutely. Calls are dropping. They're either not getting answered because I'm on the phone. I've got 5 salespeople. I've
and
got
we
10
know,
calls coming in.
and we know that salespeople are hard to find. We know that from speaking with our customers. So it might,
And expensive, right? And expensive.
yep.
So what we want to do is what Ari does is takes those overflow calls and um, creates in the command center. We've got a command center that the salespeople can go into, and they can see exactly which calls are being taken in backlog, so they can click on that, open it up, see the call summary very quickly, read the transcript if they want, listen to the call if they want, and then call that customer back. So we're not answering the call. We're taking information. Then that's a lead for the salesperson to then take and turn into an order,
Then
right? And I think that's the really important thing. And salespeople need to look at this as an opportunity whereby they can now take warm or hot leads that have come through, whether that's selling an engine or a train, whatever they were selling, whether they're on another call, you know, dealing with a warranty, right, which is crazy, or taking a call because someone wants to talk to accounts and it came through to them by accident. No, this is a situation. Oh, by the way, it might be a call that came through at midnight that no one's going to answer. But we take that information the first thing in the morning. We've got salespeople there with leads ready to go. They can call them back, they can text them, they can talk to them, they can say,
and
I can help you with that.
because the summary's there, they can, in theory, they can pick and choose which ones they call as a priority. If there's someone waiting for an engine, they're probably going to call
Hmm.
them back before someone's looking for a tail light. But it's not to say the tail light won't get called back. It's just that you prioritize that, right? It's a process.
You prioritize accordingly, right? So why would I? Obviously, I'm going to hit the $5,000 engine before I do the $50 tail light.
Of course.
So yeah, absolutely. It's all there. It's all visible. You can see it. Managers can see it. The salespeople can see it. So it's again, it's a mechanism by which we can help your team, your business, increase sales because now we're not missing calls. We're there 24/7, 365. And
And
if 10 calls come in at once, if 1,000 calls, 10,000 calls come in at the same time, none of those go to a message. Ari takes each one of those calls and responds to it, asks the right questions every single time.
um, and we've got a couple of yards that are sort of were our first trial yards that tested it
Hmm.
out, right? We've got Amber at Pete's and Junior at Bionic, and they were on the
Junior
panel.
at Bannock, yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
So we've got those yards. Obviously, there's a few tweaks here or there, but essentially, every yard is going to have different tweaks and different adjustments as we've rolled this out to new customers since URG.
We've a heap of yards come on since URG and a lot more in the pipeline that coming on in the next month. But long story short, they're all slightly different,
Yeah.
right? So the idea is that Ari needs to take on your persona, your company persona,
Hmm.
and she represents you, so she'll answer as George's Auto Parts.
She can
Or
be
you might
she
not
can
want to
be
call her Ari. You might,
Sam from
yes.
George's Auto Parts. She doesn't have to be
So
Ari.
we've got a Jim, we've got a Peter, we've got a Millie. Um, that's Natalie over at Miller's. Natalie and Chris and Sean over at Miller's have called it Millie. Um, so we've got a Maria. We've got some people said we want a Texan accent, so we've built in a Texan accent. There's one really really good one actually. I think it's Jim. He's got a slight Texan twang to
I
his
love
voice, and
that.
he's actually a really good voice. Yeah, so that works really well, right? So you can have whoever you want.
And speaking about voices, Chris, I know we've also Ari's been put to the test with her language skills as well, and that was I think with Junior
Yeah.
at Bionic. They
Well,
we didn't even know that that was already rolled out, and it just she flipped, right?
yeah.
She flipped on us.
So yeah, so one of the key things that recyclers, especially in the US, needed was Spanish speaking.
Yeah.
So we said to Ari, look, if someone speaks to you in Spanish, please respond in Spanish. And she responded in Spanish. So yeah, that was pretty amazing. And we've seen now since then, Georgia, we've seen a heap of calls come through where the customer mentioned speak Spanish, and then Ari started speaking to them in Spanish
In Spanish.
and transcribe that, then the summary comes through in English. She actually translates all that into proper English, into English, and then you can see that, and we're building things into smarts into the control center where potentially Spanish speaking calls may end up being assigned to your Spanish speaking salespeople that unfortunately weren't there to take that call. We had a
Hey,
customer just yesterday. They had three of their sales team sick. So they said, we need Ari to take a lot of our calls during the day. So they had a lot of overflow calls. So we enabled Ari to act as if she's there and it knows that it's during the day so that when she takes the call, she doesn't say, we'll ring you tomorrow. Um, it was something along the lines of, thanks for calling Chris's Auto Parts. Um, our team's currently on other calls, but I'm here to help you. Please provide this information and someone will call you back really soon.
hey,
And that helped them get out of that challenge.
trying to jump in here because I've got a
Mm.
recording actually sitting here of the Spanish conversion that I can play.
Oh,
I won't play
sure.
the whole thing, but you can hear her flip, which I think is quite interesting. So if you listen
Just
quiet.
play the first 15, 20 seconds.
Thank you for calling Bionic Auto Parts. This is Ari. How can I help you today?
Parts. I'm looking for a part.
Wrong one. Let me do this. I had
Oh
a
my goodness.
50-50 chance of getting that right.
So you took a
Two.
gamble.
Here we go.
You
Thank you
stuffed
for
it up.
calling Bionic Auto Parts. This is Ari. How can I help you today?
Yo en español.
Perfecto. ¿Puedo ayudarle en español? ¿En qué puedo asistirle hoy?
Ando buscando un transfer case para una Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo 4x4 2015.
Entiendo que está buscando un transfer case para un Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo 4x4 del 2015.
There you go. I got it right the second time.
Yeah,
But
you
it's
got it right the
nice,
second
nice
time.
to
That's
hear
okay.
her. That's Ari, obviously, and that's a real genuine call that Bionic took.
Yeah,
And that was her answering, coming back to him in Spanish. And obviously, as you said, that in their dashboard, it came back converted into English, what they were looking
yeah.
for. They could go
Yeah.
from.
So there's a heap of stuff happening that we've had a number of calls come through asking for other languages as well. We had a few calls asking for Arabic. So that's all being enabled as we speak. We've got a new version oh 07 coming out next week that will dynamically be able to uh, know that the time that the caller has called in at is during working hours. So it will answer that call differently to the ones after hours. So the after hours calls maybe we'll come back to you tomorrow morning. The during hours calls may be taken and say, we'll be back to you in a couple of minutes, for example, or we'll call you back soon because Ari knows that it's during my working hours.
Yeah.
So that's all going to happen dynamically rather than have separate models. We've got some color coding happening so that potentially engines are one particular color, transmissions and are a
That's
different color, collision parts are another color on the dashboard. Yeah. So there's a heap of stuff coming through. There's some great analytics there that are there. So again, moving away from Ari for a second, of course, if anyone's interested, let us know. But moving away from Ari for a second, if you think about what's possible, something that's going to happen to this industry at some point in time. AI is here today, and those that are early adopters, I think, are going to really take advantage of it. One of the really interesting points that Pat from PAMS made on the panel was you need to do it properly. And I absolutely agree with him. You don't want a situation where, I don't know, Ari start what kind of trees they've planted today when they're asking for an engine, right? So it really has to be specific about, and that's where the beauty of what we're building is we're not building something that could work with accountants and another one could work with lawyers and another one real estate agents. What we're focused on is the automotive recycling industry, and Ari knows a whole heap of information, some interchange information, part numbering, VIN information that she actually the demonstration I did in the session that we did, we asked actually Amber asked the audience, what car do you want to look for? And I actually called Ari and played it on the speaker. And someone said they wanted a Silverado 1500, I think it was a 2015 model engine. So that's what I asked her for. And she came back and said, is it a 5.3? Now they've got 5.3 engines. So it really makes it real. And the customer said, yes, it's a 5.3. So, it's interesting as there's a lot happening there. I think everyone should be aware of AI, should be researching, understanding more about it.
Well, Pat touched on a few things, but in the session, Chris, what else came out? What do you think, how else do you think AI is going to come into the industry? What other, I know we've kind of looked at what people could be using now.
Inventory,
but
quality grading.
Yeah,
all that stuff's going to be there. I mean, I know ARA and URG have now signed that deal around, building a quality grading scheme, certification program, whatever you call it. Yeah, so we look at that, and one of our challenges is when we're working with collision repairers, explaining how much damage is on a particular part, right? They're reused parts. Is it a scratch? Is it a parking dent? How long is it going to take to repair? All that type of stuff. So collision repairers and insurance companies are already using AI to, determine high level what the approximate cost of a repair is going to be on a particular make, model, and year of vehicle based on the images of the accident. Because of when I see 100 of these vehicles damaged in this area to this level of severity, I know that the accident damage is between $4,000 and $4,500. Therefore, I can make a quick decision as an insurer as to if it's a total loss or not.
Yeah.
So it's already there. Now, this application is slightly different, but because it's looking at small repairs, that is looking at a door and saying it's got half-hour repair. So I think there's a lot of opportunity. We're working on a bit of that at the minute with an AI company looking at the imaging piece. So I think that one's going to be a really, really big one now that this agreement's been signed between ARA and URG. Now's the time to look at it and question whether we've been doing grading the right way, whether we can use technology to do it better.
Yeah, for sure. And then I guess if someone wants to find out more about Ari or pick your brain on AI and what you sort of have learned along the way, just send you an email. If they want to speak to us in Australian time, or send Kirk an email. They can send me.
autopartnersolutions.com. It's Chris at autopartnersolutions.com or Kirk at autopartnersolutions.com or Georgia at autopartnersolutions.com. Feel free. Happy to sort of throw ideas around.
There's a demo on the
that.
website. If people want to go on to www.autopartnersolutions.com, they can very quickly jump on the AI landing page. And if you scroll down about halfway down, you can enter in your details into a form and you can have a phone conversation with Ari and put it through the ringer and see what you can, I think that's an Australian saying, isn't it?
I think it is actually. We just bamboozled the Americans.
Yeah. Give her a good test and see what you think, and obviously get in touch and we can give you further details or I know
Absolutely.
I know quite a few people have been reaching out to Junior and Amber as well and asking them what their experience is firsthand as
Mhm.
well. So
But there's lots more now too, right? So if you want to talk to others in the market, let us know and we can put you onto a heap of other people that are now using the AI to take their overflow and after hours calls. So if you need to talk to people, there's plenty out there now. So let us know and we'll certainly put you onto them.
okay. Awesome. Well, I will hopefully get this out for everyone as soon as possible, and we'll
I
chat.
think the key, if I can finish off with this,
Yeah.
keep an open mind when it comes to what's out there and what's available. Do your research and start thinking about how it can be applied because there is just so much out there. So
Cool.
looking forward to it. I think exciting times.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.